Hey everybody, it's Gus from Askewed Reviews, and today I'm doing a new episode of Creature Madness. So let me tell you about what that is. My buddy Matthew over at Horror Madness decided to create a movie club. He invited some of his friends, and what we do is we all watch the same creature feature film, and then each of us does our own review on the movie. Now, aside from myself and Matthew, the other members of this club are Jen, Ryan, Bambi, Ashley, and Amariah. And speaking of Amariah, it was her turn to choose the movie for this time around. And she chose the 2014 film From the Dark, directed and co written by Connor McMahon. So, my initial thought when I first saw this poster was this movie is either going to be really good or really bad. And it ended up being pretty good, actually. So, here's the concept for this story we have our two main characters of Sarah and Mark. Now, they are just driving out in the Irish countryside trying to get to their destination. When unfortunately, Mark keeps thinking that he knows where to go, and eventually they get into a situation where their car is stuck. So it's just starting to get dark, and Mark decides that the best thing is for him to go and see if he can find a farmhouse to get some help, and Sarah stays behind with the car. Now, what these two don't know is that a horrifying situation just occurred not too far away from where they're at. So we have this farmer who is working on his land and digging up an area, when all of a sudden he found a strange pointed stick that was stuck into the ground. When he pulled it out, there was more area unearthed underneath that seemed to reveal a body. Now, he went off to go get a flashlight to potentially see a better view of this body. When he got back, though, it was no longer there. Now, unfortunately for this farmer, that body is now up and roaming and hungry for blood. Now, eventually, Mark does find a farmhouse, but it does end up belonging to the farmer, who is looking a bit worse for wear. Now, he does go back to get Sarah to help him out with this farmer, and when the two of them get back, he's nowhere to be seen. Mark and Sarah very quickly realize they're in a deadly situation as these two creatures are now hunting them. They do at least make the realization that the creatures are affected by light. So, can Mark and Sarah survive until the dawn? As I mentioned earlier, I was definitely impressed with this movie and it was much better than I thought it was going to be. One of the things that really impressed me with this movie, and honestly impresses me with any movie that can accomplish it, is when you have a very small amount of survivors that go throughout the film and it's still interesting and exciting throughout the story. I also liked the way that the creatures looked and acted. Additionally, the character of Sarah is a great final girl and a real badass. If you'd like to check this one out for yourself, it's currently streaming for free on Prime and Peacock. And at least for me, on my scale, I'm giving From the Dark a 3 out of 5. Now here's something I do with all of my Creature Madness videos, is I do a section that goes more in depth on the creature itself. So to start off, this creature is more than likely a vampire. However, though, it may in fact just be some sort of fey creature. Now, the reason I state it that way is because technically, vampires do come from Irish folklore, or at least some of the commonalities between vampires and some of the fey creatures that are mentioned. In fact, if you didn't know this, Bram Stoker, who wrote the original book Dracula, is Irish, and he took a lot of what he did with that creature from Irish folklore. Now, for the most part, I am pretty certain that this is a vampire. It drinks blood, it specifically is affected by light. However, though, it's not just sunlight, it's light in general. And apparently, if too much light is focused on it, the creature turns to stone. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Creature Madness. And if you'd like to see what everyone else in the group did for their video, all you have to do is look up the hashtag Creature Madness.